Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are new, welcome. This video is going to be focused on a first impressions for a foundation, a Smashbox foundation that has recently come out. I'm not quite sure when it came out exactly. Little side note, I apologize that my hair looks super crazy. It's currently drying right now, so I'm just gonna ignore this. Please ignore it with me. So the foundation that we're going to be testing out in this video is the Smashbox Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. It's a Studio Skin. It's part of their Studio Skin line, and I bought the shade 3.1 Skin Tone Medium Undertone Cool Peach. I had help because you guys know I hate matching myself for foundations. I'm really terrible at it. So I had help at Sephora. I haven't read the official claims about it, but I know that it's geared toward oily skin. It's supposed to feel lightweight and it's supposed to last for 24 hours. This foundation retails for $36. It looks smaller, but it's 1 fluid ounce, which is standard. And I actually like that this is a tube because it's easier for travel. And just in general, storing it is way easier with a tube. The coverage is full. The finish is matte. It's for normal, dry, combination, and oily. I don't necessarily trust the skin type category on Sephora's website. I feel like whenever it comes to complexion products, it's always geared toward every single skin type, which isn't exactly helpful when you're trying to really narrow it down to see what works for you, which is why I recommend that you always read the description and watch reviews and stuff like this one. A little goes a long way with this foundation. Apply photo finish primer, then start with a drop of foundation and blend well. I've seen some people, such as Tati, love this foundation, and she wore it through a flight, which was really interesting. She does have oily skin like I do, so I trusted that. But also on the other side of the spectrum, I watched another review. Actually, it was like a hits and misses review from Nakia Joy. I don't know if you guys watch her, but she's amazing. And she talked about this foundation and how she hated it. And she also has oily skin. So it could go either way today. Hopefully I do like this foundation because I actually have a work event. It's a gala and I'm working the event, and I would really appreciate if my makeup stays in place and I don't have to worry about it since I'll be working. I'm gonna first start with applying some primer. I have my Tatcha Silk Canvas primer. Whenever I wear foundation, I will wear a primer. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to test a foundation on my skin if I don't prep my skin the same way I would with any other foundation. You know what I mean? Because if I want it to work well, and I want to know if it's gonna work well with my routine, then I have to do my routine. By the way, do you guys like my nails? I did them myself and they're polygel. I'm also gonna use this Maybelline Master Blur Stick on my T-zone just for extra pore protection. Pore protection? No. Pore minimizing. So I'm gonna take the foundation, and I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start off with a little dot like that. So I'm going to do this side of my face with my brush. I have my Sigma Flat Kabuki, my F80 brush. This is a very standard one. So I'm going to go ahead and blend it on my skin. And then I'm going to take a very thin layer and just start to blend that in. So it actually matches my skin very well. The employee that was helping me, she was so helpful. We did a couple of different shades and she let me pick out which one I liked the best. And she explained that this foundation does tend to oxidize a little bit, but barely noticeably. Right off the bat, I do see a little bit of blotching right there. That tends to be an area where foundation doesn't blend as well for me. So I always have to go in if I go in with another layer. But over here, it looks really good. This foundation does seem to be drying fairly quickly on the skin, so you definitely want to work in small sections. All right, I'm gonna do just a bit more, and I'm gonna take it on my finger and I'm gonna put it exactly where I want it to go. For my nose, I'm just gonna do my entire nose with a sponge because my nose tends to be a little finicky when it comes to foundation, and I know if I use a brush, it's going to get really like weird and cakey or spotty. Like you'll be able to tell where it's not clinging onto my skin. I am happy with the way that that looks. It does look a little bit drying. Now I'm going to move on to the other side, and I'm going to be using my Eco Tools sponge. I really enjoy this sponge. just blend it out. Normally, I wouldn't put the foundation right under my my eyes, but I don't know, I just feel like doing it today, so that's what I'm doing. It's kind of sitting weird on my skin, to be honest. I feel like it's not blending very well. I can see demarcation right over here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can definitely see where it's having a little bit of trouble blending. I also just got like a mini facial service at Sephora yesterday. So my skin is very, very clean. Also, a side note, check your Sephoras because some Sephoras will offer you a free mini facial if you spend $75 or more. And I think it's any level of membership. So far, my experiences have been really great. This isn't sponsored by Sephora, by the way. I know that I've mentioned them a lot, but I just had a really good experience yesterday. I realized that I started to go at this side of my face with a sponge, but really I was just testing the application process with a brush. But I want to tap everything out with my sponge just to make sure that it's really, really blended. So I'm honestly not sure if it's my skin or if it's the foundation or what, but I feel like it applied better with a brush. So I think what I'm going to do, it feels like it's already dry, like it's barely tacky. Actually, that was really, really quick. So what I'm going to do now is go back in for a second layer, but it's going to be just as thin as the first. And I'm going to go in with my brush first all over my face, and then if I need to, I'll blend out with my sponge. I'm like really nervous for some reason about this foundation. I don't know, sometimes it's hard to do first impressions on foundations with these lights because it's so deceiving. Like everything looks so much more intense in these lights. Now I'm gonna go in with my sponge and then very lightly tap everything in. Okay, this is what my skin is looking like so far. I can say with confidence that I do prefer the brush. I think that it went on way more evenly. I was a little concerned about this side when I was using a sponge, but it looks a lot better now that I went in with a second layer. It does look just a touch thick, like it looks a little drying, but I did just put it on, so I think that I have to let it sit while I'm doing the rest of my makeup and see how that turns out. All right, this is the foundation. This is the face, the base. There is a little bit of blotching right here. It could be the concealer that I applied because I normally will go in with a very light, loose powder to set my concealer. Oh, that is not looking too great. I don't think that I should have set under my eyes with this powder. Normally for my under eyes, I'll set with a loose setting powder like the Hourglass Mineral Veil. But today, when I was setting the rest of my face, I went under with the powder foundation because it looks like I'm getting a little bit of creasing right up on my forehead. Do you see this creasing right here? That doesn't happen very often for me, like where my lines are. Now, what I'm gonna do is finish the rest of my makeup, get ready, put everything on, and then I'll come back and let you guys know how it's looking by the time I finish. Okay everyone, so my makeup is done other than my lip color. I did not apply that yet. I haven't decided, and also I want to make sure that I eat something before I go, so this is just going to stay the way it is. But to focus on the skin. So as I was doing my makeup, I was periodically checking out my skin, seeing if the foundation was sinking in, and honestly, it doesn't look like it has yet. It looks amazing on camera. Like I was looking at the monitor and I was like, wow, this looks so good. My skin looks super even. The shade matches my face and my neck really, really well. But there are a couple of things that I was just like thinking about, trying to figure out if it was a foundation or if it was other face products. Like I said earlier, the concealer mishap that happened right here was because I set under my eyes with a powder foundation rather than a translucent setting powder. That was my bad. Also, my nose is like breaking up here, but I have issues with that all the time. But as I was sitting here, I'm gonna be honest, I started sweating. So then I tried to take a sponge and blot the sweat off. Okay, so we're really, really up close now, right in this vicinity, as well as right here. It's really blotchy and I can't go in and fix it because every time I go in with my sponge to try and blot it, it gets worse. It's so aggravating. I cannot tell you guys. This foundation does look super cakey on my forehead, which I do not like that about it. Right here, it's looking really, really cakey. So I'm gonna go to my event with this full face of makeup on. And I'm going to be wearing this throughout the rest of the night, and I will check back in later at the end of the night to let you guys know how it held up. Hey everyone, so I am back finally. It has been 9 hours. It's almost 1 a.m. and I just got back from my work event. My voice sounds a little tired right now. So the event that we had was a gala. There was super loud music the entire time. I was like screaming, trying to like have a conversation. Lots of facial expressions. I talk a lot with facial expressions. So I have a lot of stuff to show you guys on my face right now. Overall, I think from first glance, it looks pretty good. I don't look extremely oily. Like, yes, I could definitely use a blotting sheet right now, but this is not the most oily my skin gets at the end of the day, believe it or not. I am definitely very oily right here in my T-zone and a little bit on my cheeks. There are a couple of spots where the foundation has either kind of worn off, or my nail touched my face and it kind of scratched off some of the foundation. So let me zoom you guys in so we can look at the fine little details. All right, so we're super zoomed in right now, and right off the bat, I'm sure that you guys can see I have a lot of lines right here, but sometimes when I laugh, I crinkle my nose, and yeah, I just have a lot of facial expressions. I have a little spot, if you can see that, where my nail, oh, I just did it again. I have some lines right here. This right here, very normal. I don't see any crazy splotching anywhere. It did really good. For 9 hours, that's a long time, y'all. Let's see if I can powder my face real quick and see how this goes. I actually don't have a blotting sheet right now. It's in the other room, and I am so tired. I just can't bring myself to go get any. So please bear with me. I'm gonna take a brush and I'm gonna dip it into my Hourglass translucent powder, and I'm just gonna go ahead and blot the areas that are looking a little bit shiny. All right, so I do recommend, if you are oily, to use a blotting sheet before you use powder, because my skin right now is looking really cakey. Yeah, you can like see a little bit of caking right here as well. Hi guys, I am back. This is the next day. I was thinking about it this morning, and I really just did not like the way that the video turned out with the foundation, and I really felt like it was definitely user error. And the more I thought about it, I actually remembered at Sephora when I was getting that facial that I mentioned earlier, or that I mentioned yesterday. I was talking to my facialist about how I bought the foundation, and she was telling me that it was such a good foundation, it was so mattifying, but she actually had someone previously return it because she said that it was too drying, and she explained that you have to use a more hydrating primer. For some reason yesterday, I completely just like blanked and did not even like consider that whenever I was putting on the Tatcha primer. I was like, you know what, I need to give this one more shot, but I really want this to work because it felt really light on the skin and I really liked that, but I just couldn't get over how creasy it looked, and how it looked a little blotchy here because of the concealer, the way I set the concealer, and that I don't think was the foundation's fault. So I'm going to do it the right way today, and then you guys can make a more educated decision on if you think that it would work for you. I recently washed my face and moisturized as well. I have my sunscreen on and everything. And for the primer today, I am going to be using the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. This is supposed to be a more hydrating primer, a brightening primer, and I think it's going to work fairly well because it's nice and light and it's moisturizing. I think I am still going to use the same concealers, but I'm going to use my typical setting powder instead of using that foundation powder to set my face. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of pumps of this Ole Henriksen primer right here, and I'm going to apply it to the entire face. And I'm going to do what I did yesterday. I'm just going to use my brush all over my face to apply the foundation, and then I'm going to go and smooth it out with my sponge. I think that it's important before you write off a product completely to just try it out once or twice again. Try different combinations, try different amounts. Yeah, so it looks a lot better. It still looks a little heavy, I'm not gonna lie. It does look like you're wearing foundation, but it still feels light. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that. I think it looks really good. I'm gonna apply some concealer, and I'm not sure yet if I want to powder my entire face. All right, that's looking very, very nice. I like the way that's sitting, and I'm gonna use my Hourglass Mineral Veil primer, or sorry, not primer, powder under my eyes. I'm shocked that I still have some of this. I use this pretty much every single day, and I'm gonna dust right underneath my eyes. Okay, that looks really, really great. I'm really liking the way that this is looking right now. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna use a really, really light brush. I'm gonna take this e.l.f. stipple brush, and I'm gonna take some powder and then just really lightly sweep it all over my face, because this will avoid getting it too concentrated anywhere, but I'll still have a little bit of that powder to protect from like my oils. That is the complexion for the day. This is already looking way, way better. My nose is already sweating, guys. Ugh, this is so annoying, but I'm not gonna touch it at all. I'm just gonna let it do its thing and then dry. But yeah, it does look a little heavy right here, like I said, but we'll see if that ends up settling, and I will check back in with you guys later. Hey guys, so I'm running errands right now, and I just wanted to check in. It's 2:30, so it's been around an hour and a half to 2 hours. I can't exactly remember, but this is what my face is looking like right now. It is a little bit oily, which in turn doesn't make it look as cakey. It looks good. Again, it's a heavier foundation. I understand that. So it looks like I'm wearing makeup. Even though it is mid-October in Florida, it doesn't necessarily get cold until a couple weeks from now, and even that cold is not cold. So I will probably check in with you guys again in a little bit. All right, friends, we are back. It's 11:15 at night, and I put this foundation on, I think, around 1:30 this afternoon, and I have a few thoughts again. Today wasn't as hectic as yesterday. Today I just ran a couple of errands, and then I got some work done, went to dinner, and now I'm back home. I did notice that my face did get much more oily today versus yesterday when I wore that matte primer underneath this foundation. Midday, whenever I was getting oily, I kind of liked the way it looked. Like, it looked healthy. It looked like a nice sheen. Around the 5-hour mark of wearing the foundation, I did end up blotting my face. I didn't add any more makeup to my face. I just blotted, and that was it. Looking closer, I don't have the fine lines that I had right here. I don't have any fine lines on my forehead. I definitely think that a hydrating primer is the way to go with this foundation. I'll zoom you guys in as well. So I don't know if you can see on camera, but the foundation kind of looks more built up and cakey right in that area again. Well, it started off looking like that. It's a little blotchy, like right here again, if you can see that. Is to break down my thoughts. I think that on camera, this foundation looks flawless. It looks so good. It's a great base for all of my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, all of that. I was also shopping for a dress to wear to a friend's wedding, and I was looking in the mirror a lot, and I saw that my face just looked really, really flawless from afar. But when I would look up close, it looked a little cakey. If you have normal skin type, I think that this foundation might actually work for you. If you're dry, I don't think that this is going to work for you at all, because if it was a little patchy on me and a little drying on me, I can't imagine what it would do for someone that has a drier skin type. If you're oily, I don't know. I feel like maybe you would like it. For me personally, I like to wear foundations and bases that look more skin-like, that look more hydrating, and then I like to mattify it with a powder or something. I don't really want my foundation to right off the bat look really, really matte, because I find that it just looks a little less consistent on the face. I think maybe if you're a performer and you're going to be on stage and you need some heavier stage makeup, this would be an amazing base. I think that if you're going to be on camera a lot, this might look really, really great from afar, like I said. Honestly, for full wear everyday foundation, this one is not it for me. I'm not like super impressed or in love with it. I'm just kind of neutral. I feel like I could make it work, but do I really, really want to spend the time and effort? I think that this is going to be the end of this full try on first impression for the Smashbox foundation. I hope that you guys found this helpful rather than confusing you more. I think I might have just confused you more, and I apologize for that. If you have tried this foundation before and you love it, please let me know, or even if you hate it or had the same experiences as me, please let me know as well. If you guys like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!